Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to yourplaymat.com where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from yourplaymat.com.
What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr Games. Sorry if I'm a little bit raspy, I'm a little bit under the weather, but I just had to bring this video to you. And this video is pretty much all of the secrets from Lightning Overdrive have been revealed. We're going to go through them, explain what may or may not be the values. I'll try and do them in some form of order of what I feel would be most value, which will pretty much come down to the top 3. Everything else is a little bit, what can I say? So, I will also review the set and ultimately answer the question to buy or not to buy the brand new core set from Konami TCG. With all of that out of the way, let's get straight into the video, but before we do so, don't forget that this is now live. This is the Venom Battle Gear Zephyr Wargames exclusive mat designed by Spallo Tattoos as well. You can pick them up in the link in the description below. It is awesome, getting you ready for the God decks coming out at the end of the month. Oh no, technically in the middle of next month, June. Anyway, let's dive straight into that video. Now, let's go through all of the secret rare cards that we have. So, we're going to start off with the one that I like the most, apart from the name change, and that is Ruddy Rose Dragon. What we're going to do with this is we're going to go for the effect. I think the artwork is absolutely stunning. I love Black Rose, and for those of you that do not know, Black Rose Dragon is going to be a starlight in this set as well, so keep your eyes out on that. But Blood Rose Dragon, what does it do? Well, hopefully once this all loads up, I will be able to tell you. But the card art itself, as you'll see on the screen, is absolutely amazing. And it's, yeah, officially Ruddy Rose Dragon. I can't believe they've changed this name. So it requires 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuners, and it is a level 10 synchro. If it is synchro summoned, you can banish all cards from the graveyard. Then if this card was synchro summoned using specifically Black Rose Dragon or a plant synchro monster as material, you can destroy all other cards on the field. When your opponent activates a card or effect that would destroy a card or cards, quick effect, you tribute this card, negate the activation. Then you can special summon 1 Black Rose Dragon from your extra deck or graveyard. Now, when it comes with Black Rose Dragon, I'm hoping it means that you can... I think it cuts out like Black Rose Moonlight Dragon and stuff like that. It specifically gives you the Black Rose Dragon. So it's kind of cool in the sense, but you need to tribute to protect it being destroyed. And then you bring out Black Rose Dragon, which is going to destroy the whole board anyway. So it's kind of like a bit of give and take. Now, the artwork, like I said, absolutely stunning, but actual effectiveness in the game, in the current meta as well, is not so great. So that's Ruddy Rose Dragon. Yeah, I know. So that's one of the secret slots. To me, I'm actually happy for it to be a secret slot. I don't expect it to be high value, but I think the name change really struggles it. Now, the next one we've got is probably one that doesn't deserve to be a secret, but we're going to go over it anyway. So, the Warrock that we got was the secret was Warrock Meteoragon. Is a level 7 Earth Warrior monster. Can't be destroyed by an opponent's card effect. When an attack is declared involving this card and an opponent's monster, you can negate that opponent's monster's effect this turn. So, that's kind of cool, but it needs to, when an attack is declared involving it, you then get to negate. So, it just means that if anything that has a destroyed by battle effect, you pretty much can turn it off. So, once per turn during a battle phase in which an Earth Warrior monster battles, quick effect, you can make all Warrock monsters you currently control gain 200 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. Also, this card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. So, fits within the Warrock archetype. Looks a little bit familiar. Does this look like a good old fashioned sub-Terra Guru to anybody else? It's not as good as Guru though, let's be completely honest. Honest. We'll get onto honest a little bit later on, do not worry. So obviously Warrock Mega Dragon's pretty much taken up one of them slots, which is a little bit disappointing, keeping in mind that we've only got 10 secret slots to be playing around with. And ultimately, when we get down the list, I will show you the top 3, in my opinion, that are going to be worth a bit of money, but also have some utility in the game itself. Moving on to our next secret rare from, of course, Lightning Overdrive, we do get, it's called Bengalancer the Resurgent. Now, I hope I've got that one right. It is a Link 4 plant monster. It requires specifically 2+ plant monsters, so it can't be made with anything else. It does need to have at least 2 Link monsters in order to make it. During the main phase, quick effect, target one effect monster your opponent controls. Okay, target, it's not great, but it works. Take damage equal to its attack. So I'm going to burn myself for 3,000 attack on a card that can be targeted already. So what cards are you going to want to do that aren't going to respond with a negate or that can actually be targeted? And if you do, take damage and return it to the hand. So, I mean, this effect, if it didn't target, I would probably be a little bit more open to it. But the fact that you need to target something, so it's not going to deal with a Dragoon. If you target something like an Appaloosa, you target something like a Savage Dragon, they're just going to go, negate. Like, they're not really going to be too worried about it. You banish 2 or more link monsters from your graveyard whose combined link rate is equal to exactly 4 to special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. So it's got a nice recursion effect, but again, only use 1 effect per turn and only once that turn. So you're either going to get the ability to bounce, which Firewall does it better anyway, or you're going to get the ability to revive it. So, yes, but do I really want to be looking down the barrel of taking 6,000 burn damage myself to try and get rid of one of my opponent's boss monsters? And the worst thing about it as well, yes, it's target is cost. So if they do negate it, you're not going to take the burn. But it's still being able to have to go, right, okay, I need to be able to target that monster, I need to be able to return it to the hand, and I'm probably going to take a bit of a burn off of it as well. So, yeah, the link for Bengal Answer doesn't really hit my list of very, very top important. So we're going to cut down the middle and go to the half once we get there as well. Okay, so the next one is secret. It's called the Bahateria Sky Piercer of the Light. Now, I believe it's been changed. Its name has been officially changed for the TCG. But this is another secret rare. Again, artwork looks really kind of cool. It kind of follows along, in my opinion, alongside like Dragon Phantasme and, of course, through Heavenly Zephyr, as it is like a high-level hand trap monster. So, you can tribute summon this card by tributing 1 effect monster. During your opponent's main phase, if your opponent adds a card or cards from their deck to the hand, except by drawing them, and this card is in your hand, you can immediately, after that effect resolves, tribute summon this card. If this card is normal or special summon from the hand, you can have your opponent banish cards from the top of their deck face down equal to the number of cards in their hand, then shuffle their entire hand into the deck, and if they do, they get to add the cards banished by this effect to their hand. Only use each effect once per turn. So obviously the idea is that if they've gone to search out something very, very specific, you're then going to get them to banish it and then hope that the banish from the top of their deck is... they're going to put them back into the deck, and you're going to hope that the cards they banish from the top of the deck that are equal to the same amount of hands doesn't give them a better or worse hand. Now, obviously, if it gives them a worse hand, great. But what are the chances that when they're going to get to probably add maybe 5 to 6 cards to their hand, that it's not going to be good? I mean, especially if you're looking for an Alistair, and you go, right, okay, they've activated Meltdown, or they've activated Terraform to get Meltdown. You're not going to go, right, okay, activate this card, put it back into the deck, and then hope that the 5 you banish off the top of your deck is not going to be a Meltdown or an Alistair. Like, what is the actual practicalities of this card in the game? And again, which is why this is coming down further down the list of my actual priorities for the cards that I think are actually going to be very, very good for the deck itself, or just in general as a splashable card. So again, from the first kind of 4 or so secrets we've gone through, none of them are really standing out to me. None of them are really making me go, oh, hot damn, this is on like close to Prosperity level or close to Phantasme level, or heck, even on one of those levels of, it'll probably be a £10 to £15 card like Heavenly Zephyr and has the potential to get better. I mean, we thought War Rocks were going to get better, and it's evidently that that's not happening. Then moving on, we are going to go into our middle brackets. This is the last card before we hit the top 5, and I'll explain the top 5 as we go when we get there as well. So, in the pole position of number 6, just missing out on the top 5, if you want to do it that way, is this one right here, Amazement Time Ticket. Now, Amazement Time Ticket, keep in mind, is not only a secret in the set, but it is also an ultra, which is why it's kind of dropped out of the top 5, because the way I see it is, it's kind of a pointless secret. It's one of them ones, especially with the previous one that we got, which was, I think it was like the Third Higher Quick Effect, Quick Play Spell. It was kind of those moments where the Ultra Rare promo depreciates the value of the secret. So it's one of the ones that if you pull that secret, are you any better off getting that particular secret, which is going to have maybe double the amount of prints, or definitely going to have the same amount of prints, if not a little bit more than the normal, because they got the Ultras and the secrets. Is it worth getting it? So, Amazing Time Ticket, very good for Amazements if you plan to build them, but Amazements did get a little bit shafted in the sense that technically if you went with the Ultra versions of the Time Tickets, you're looking at getting 3 Ultra Rares, or I believe 4 Ultra Rares and a secret. If you're going for the 2 secrets, you're getting 2 secrets and 2 Ultra Rares. So they're really, really going to make it a little bit difficult to get everything you need, but I'm hoping that they're going to, because they're in the middle of the brackets and everyone else is going to be focused on the higher up secrets, you might be able to pick these up quite cheaply. Anyway, pay 800 life points, apply this effect depending whose turn it is. Your turn, add 1 Amazement card from your deck to your hand. Your opponent's turn, set 1 Amazement attraction trap directly from your deck, and it can be activated this turn. Overall, this card for Amazements is really, really good. It's a quick effect rotor that you can use during your turn, or it's a quick effect to set one of your traps, so it can't technically be ashed, and the fact that the trap can be activated that turn is a massive bonus. Now, we will be doing an Amazement profile, and we will go over Amazements in a little bit more detail, so do not worry, stick with us for that, and we'll show you how they kind of interlope. Now, just for the pure fact of consistency, the next secret rare on this list is also an Amazement. So this one is Amazement Administrator. Now, this card again is a secret rare. Once per turn, you can banish any number of attraction traps from your graveyard, then target that many cards your opponent controls and destroy them. Not a quick effect, a little bit disappointed. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If a trap card is activated except during a damage step, you can special summon this card from the hand. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster except during a damage step, you can target one of those face-up monsters they control and equip an attraction trap from your deck to that target. So it's a nice little multi-faker in a sense that if you were to activate something like an Impermanence turn 0, you can summon this card out for free and then you'll pretty much be able to get the traps from your deck directly. But you've also got to keep in mind as well that it is a higher level, it is sitting at a level 7, it is a Dark Spellcaster, so technically you could send it with Magician Souls, and Magician Souls could be good in this deck because you start sending off your spells and traps. But keep in mind as well, this takes up a secret spot. It's only just in the top 5. I think technically you could put Ticket above this one, and the only reason I'd put Ticket above this, or the only reason I'd put Ticket below this one, is purely for the fact that it's got 2 prints. It's got an Ultra print and a Secret print in the same set. So, obviously these two are very specific to only wanting to build specifically Amazement. So if you don't want to build Amazements or you have no interest at all, then they're not going to be of any interest to you, and they're probably going to go down in price. Now, I've heard rumours that they work with Invocation, Alistair, and the whole Invoked engine. I'm not sure, I haven't looked into the art type myself, I will be doing that research a little bit later on, but ultimately just looking on the base of it and what the secrets are actually holding within this set, this one again is another one that doesn't really hit the heights that I would like to expect from a previous set, or it doesn't even provide support. Like, one of the biggest points, and I'll get to them now, is Scrap Raptor, or Scraptor is what I want to call it, is actually a common, and it's a really good card for Dino. It's had a lot of hype, and I'm actually glad that it is a common because it's easy to get, but it's one of the cards that I would have expected to become a secret rare. There's a couple of other cards that I might have expected them to do a secret rare of. Obviously, when you look at stuff like the Security Force, because Security Force got 2 secrets in the last set, I would have thought that they would have carried that over, and that's kind of where that one sits. Okay, so obviously the next one on the list is, of course, the Drytron Mu Beta Fafnir. Now, its effect is a rank 1. It requires 2 level 1 monsters specifically, and when you ritual summon, you can detach a material from this card as monsters required for the ritual summon. You can only use each of the following effects of a Drytron Mu Beta Fafnir once per turn. If it is XYZ summoned, you can send 1 Drytron card from your deck to the graveyard. When your opponent activates a spell or trap card while you control a machine ritual monster, quick effect, detach a material from this card and negate the activation if you do destroy that card. I think this card is actually amazing for Drytrons. It does allow them to be played more purely. It also gives them a very, very nice edge of what they lost with Union Carrier. And to be honest, if you're playing stuff like Prosperity or you're playing Extravagance, this card can easily be a free of, which is why it's definitely in the top 4. It might drop down to about £20 to £30 specifically, depending on how well Drytrons do now with this coming back. But also keep in mind that Ben 10 is now at 1 as well, so it's a little bit more difficult to resolve that, even with Diviner of the Herald. Speaking of which, the next card that we're going to be moving into will, of course, be Dark Honest. Now, Dark Honest is, of course, the dark counterpart to the good old-fashioned favourite of Honest. Absolutely looks stunning. I'm glad this is a secret. And the only reason that I'm putting this above the Drytron and everything like else is purely for hype. Now, I think it will come down a little bit more and it'll probably end up setting around the 20 quid mark, maybe a little bit more, I don't know. But the idea behind this is the dark version of Honest. Now, gone are the days of being able to hold an Honest in your hand, to drop an Honest on your opponent and win a game in a competitive matchup, in my personal opinion. So Dark Honest is once per turn. During your main phase, you can return this face-up card to the hand. During the damage step, when your Dark monster battles an opponent's monster, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. That opponent's monster loses attack equal to its own attack until the end of this turn. So it's a bit more of a reduction effect of Honest rather than an addition effect of Honest, but you can kind of see the purpose behind it. Now, again, like I said, I reckon this will drop down, but I think right now, because it is a long, long time since we got the original Honest, I think you've got fans that want the Honest and want the Dark Honest, and it looks amazing. There'll be a little bit more hype than usually would be behind it, but it will be a card that I would not go out of my way to spend £50+ on. I wouldn't even go and spend £30+ on. I think it's a card that will slowly depreciate in value, because it's not going to have any real-world meta appliances. someone might be able to prove me wrong, but there's no consistent way of adding this to a meta deck, searching it in a meta deck, or of course being able to utilize it in a meta deck without people using negates, without people being able to get rid of the dark monster so that it's not going to lose an attack, deferration, or anything like that. And specifically, it's when your dark monster battles as well, so that limits down the decks that can play it. It's not as splashable as, of course, the next card's coming up. So, the next card that is moving into the second spot, and the reason this is in the second spot is just because it is a not TCG, excuse me, it is an OCG import. It kind of helps you solidify with the Ben 10. I would have thought the Ben 10 would have stayed around a little bit longer just so that we could get the same feeling that the OCG had for this one. But of course, it is Diviner of the Herald. This was a card we were screaming out for when Drytrons dropped originally. The card itself is incredibly beautiful and it works very, very nicely. So if it is normal or special, you get to send a fairy monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, and if you do, increase this level by that monster's level until the end of this turn. If this card is tributed, you can special summon one level 2 or lower fairy monster from your hand or deck except itself. Now obviously this was another way of getting to Eva, it was another way of getting Eva's additional effects to add your orange light and stuff like that. It's also easily searchable off of Ben 10, and the fact that in Drytrons you weren't really using up your normal summon, you can normal summon this card out, or of course you have the ability to special summon it at some point as well. And it was a level 2, so it could easily be sent with Eva, searched with Eva as well. It's definitely a hype card right now. I think it's at the higher end of the price values, and it's definitely one to watch out for at sneak peek if you're desperate to play ritual decks. I think it's a card that could easily be put in most ritual decks, especially Drytrons right now, and technically when they're getting 2 lots of support in the XYZ and this card, it's definitely one to look out for. I don't think it's going to have as much hype as it would have done if Ben 10 was still around, and maybe if Union Carrier is still around, but it's certainly a card that if you pull it, do not be disappointed with. It will be able to fetch you a bit of value. Now the last card is a good old classic that's been revitalised, and we got trolled a little bit in the introduction. These are classic cards that are being reinvigorated for the modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! We all know what Twin Twister is, we all know what Book of Moon is, but do we really know what Book of Lunar Eclipse is? So Book of Lunar Eclipse is the brand new Book of Moon, which allows you to discard a card and Book of Moon to face up opponent monsters. Now, it might be a little bit late for this card considering you can't do that to link monsters, but the fact that it is a quick effect that just by allowing you to discard lets you target 2 face up monsters and flip them to face down defense position is a nice little added bonus. Now, it specifically target 2 monsters, so if you do not have 2 monsters to target, you can't use it. So if your opponent was only to go into 1 monster and then try and get rid of it, you can't use it. But what it does give you a very, very nice big bonus against is, for example, when you look at Zulich. If you were to activate this against Zulich, you could flip their Golden Lord face down, you could flip their Zeus face down. If they had Trident, you could flip the Trident and Zeus face down, and you're really going to be putting yourself in a decent position. Now, it is cost to discard and target, so obviously if they were to chain something and get rid of one of the monsters, you were still able to resolve as much as possible. Book of Moon in the final card left there. Now the only downside, like with Twin Twisters, is the fact that it needs to discard. So this is obviously going to benefit the decks that want to discard a little bit more, stuff like Dangers, Dark Worlds, everything like that wants to get an additional bonus. Keep in mind that once this resolves as well, if you were to discard a Thunderbird, your Thunderbird destroys set cards. So you might be able to go, okay, cool, Thunderbird, boom, pop. I need to double check that just to make sure it's not setting spells and traps, but it is a nice little bit of synergy there that you can not only Book of Moon your opponent's cards, but you can pop one of them as well. So it does utilise both going first, going second. The fact is a staple card when you look at stuff like Twin Twisters. Book of Moon has been making a bit of a resurgence in the meta as well. This is definitely an upgrade when you look at MST to Twin Twisters and how much Twin Twisters gets played until Cosmic comes into the fray. Or of course if your deck likes to discard and actually wants to destroy back row. If a element comes into play where Book of Moon in your opponent's cards is going to be a heck of a lot better, then you're obviously going to upgrade from Book of Moons to the Book of Lunar Eclipse. So my hunt card for the entire set would be Book of Lunar Eclipse, purely on that basis that it will eventually become a staple card. I wouldn't be going mad, I wouldn't be spending 70s, 60s or even 50s on the card, maybe 40s, because it does have a little bit of room for growth at that point as well. If you can get it for anything less than 40s, around the 30s to £20 mark, definitely worth grabbing in my opinion, because that would be a very nice catch up, especially for later on down the line. I definitely think this is going to have some future implications in the meta and as a side deck card as well. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all 10 of the secrets. So just to revitalise or go back over those, of course, we had Ruddy, Rose Dragon, we had Dark Honest, Diviner of the Herald, Amazement Time Ticket, Benevolancer, the Resurgent, Drytron, the Mu Beta Fafnir, Amazement Administrator, Book of Lunar Eclipse, War Rock, Mega Dragon, and then Benita of the Radiance as well. So, ultimately, now that we've gone over all the secrets, and they are tending to be the value cards in there, there might be the odd ultra rare card that may hit the peaks of £20, but even they aren't amazing. And then when you look at the starlights that we know so far, you've got Black Rose Dragon, and then you've got the Light Link 2 Charmer Monster as well, which kind of helps you continue the set. So do not be surprised if we see the Dark one eventually as well. That leaves 3 Starlight Rare spots. What do I believe will get them? Well, arguably, I think Dusk Honest could take the place. I think Herald could take the place. And I also think the Book of Lunar Eclipse could take the place. Not to mention when you look at the Evil Twin Frost, considering that Evil Twin Treat got the Starlight value of it earlier as well. Ultimately, what do I think of Lightning Overdrive? Not to mention that if you're a Utopia fan as well, you're going to be a little bit happy because all of their max rarity cards is ultra rare. So you should be able to pick up that deck nice and easy. Ultimately, what do I think about this set? Well, it's a little bit under par for what it could ultimately be. And I think the whole set itself could be a little bit better. Do I think it's worth picking up the set? As much as it pains me to say, no. I don't think there is mass value for you to buy a box. Now, I would go and buy a box to support my local environment and my local stores, hands down, because then whatever I pull is great. But if you're looking to build Amazements, you need anywhere from 6 secrets to possibly 9 ultras. Going to be very difficult to get from a single box. If you want to get Book of Lunar Eclipse, you're going to want it at free. It's going to be very difficult to do. If you want to be building Plant Dragons or Rose Dragons or anything like that, again, 2 secret spots. The only time that it might be worth it is if you're like, you know what, I just want free Scraptor, I want the lower rarity stuff for the security forces, I just want whatever secrets I get, I'm happy with, I can trade them off, do whatever, then it's worth buying a box. If you want multiples of the commons and stuff like that, it's worth buying a box. The feeling of opening up stuff. If you pull high value secret, great, you can get more money off of it. If you pull a Starlight, great, an additional bonus. But you need to feel that you're not losing out on buying a box completely. So if you're like, I only want Amazements, probably better off to buy singles. If you only want stuff like, I only want 2 Ruddy Rose Dragons and maybe one of the Link 4, maybe the Ultra Edits in here, maybe buy singles. So it really depends on if you want multiples of individual cards or you just want a range of cards themselves, especially when you're looking at the lower rarity cards as well. Anyway, I hope this video has kind of helped you. I hope I've been able to go through the secrets in as much depth as possible. Like I said, I tried to value them from like maybe the bottom 5, and then the top 5 I think was a little bit easier to go boom, boom, boom. I think the remaining like 6 downwards, or the bottom 6 are pretty much anywhere you want to put them. And then the top 4 pretty much, in my opinion, I feel are solidified right now at the moment of recording this video. We still do not know the remaining 3 Starlights, so it's all a bit of speculation. As absolutely always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, the whole 9 yards. Until next time, as absolutely always, stay safe and happy dueling.
Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to Yourplaymat.com, where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from Yourplaymat.com.